Hi everyone, in my video I'll be explaining about electronic waste, which is also known as e-waste. First off, what is e-waste? As you already know, electronics are a part of our daily lives and they've been a big help. However, once we throw them out, they can cause a whole lot of problems. Discarded electrical and electronic equipment without the intent of being reused is defined as e-waste by the United Nations University, and each year we make 25 million tons of e-waste. In my video, I will be talking about how our electronics are made for our consumption and what happens to them after we decide to get rid of them. As a matter of fact, e-waste is then exported to China, where the action of recycling is doing more harm than good. By the end of this, I will present to you various ways in which you can help end e-waste export and the release of toxins in the environment. Annie Leonard suggests that electronics are designed for the dump, meaning the companies that produce our electronics makes it so they will be thrown away quickly. However, they are not just taking more and more of our money, but in fact, the companies that are designing these fragile electronics are harming the environment. It is crazy to think that a small device in your hand include hazardous chemicals such as PVC, mercury, lead, cadmium, but it doesn't end there. First, let's talk about how electronics are made and the consequences of throwing them out. Our electronics begins in mines where they are gathered for materials, and after they are sent to assembly plants where workers turn them into products using various toxic chemicals. In fact, the danger of electronics starts right in the making, since the workers are 40% more vulnerable to miscarriages and significantly more likely to die from blood, brain, and kidney cancer. Once they are in our hands, we get to enjoy our electronics until it is time for them to go. The consequences of it is that when we dispose our electronics, they turn into e-waste that are collected in landfills or they get shipped overseas to Asian destinations, such as China. In fact, almost 80% of the e-waste collected from the United States are sent to China, where little is known about the reality of e-waste being recycled there. So what does e-waste recycling actually look like in China? This is discovered by the Basel Action Network, a global watchdog group dedicated to preventing toxic trades. In Guayu, China, they found out that it is now a junkyard of electronic waste, where the workers undergo difficult labor to smash the e-waste and recover the valuable pieces inside. The rest of the useless pieces that are not collected are burned, and result of this, toxic chemicals are released into the air and poison the families and children. This causes respiratory and other health problems. The reason why e-waste is exported to China for the people there to deal with is because the labor is much cheaper and the standards for environmental health and safety is minimal compared to the United States. The workers' safety is neglected to the point where they are handling toxic materials such as printer toner, a probable carcinogen with barely any protection. In fact, a worker had mentioned that they were unaware of the life-threatening materials they were working with. A few other examples of dangerous materials they also work on are cathode ray tubes, burning wires, and circuit boards. Cathode ray tubes is one of the materials they work on, and these make up the bulk of a computer monitor or television. It is an e-waste hazard that contain the toxic metal lead, and these are simply broken down by hand without protection for the copper. The monitor glass is simply thrown out in irrigation canals or rivers since they are not needed. The workers are also involved in open burning wires and other components, and these are handled by families and children, whose job is to sort and burn the wires. The fumes are highly dangerous and toxic, and the ashes are spread all over their homes. Lastly, circuit boards are also worked on. They are melted until the valuable chips inside are easily removed, and during the process, workers are more prone to toxic lead inhalation. The circuit boards are burned and disposed onto the environment, contaminating the water and land, causing alarming levels of lead in the soil and water. Although the workers use the fan to blow the fumes away during the process, it still does not prevent the toxic fumes from getting in their body. With this said, how can we all help to eliminate e-waste? It is important for us to fully support and encourage the take-back laws, which hold manufacturers responsible for the proper disposal of their own products no longer used by their customers. So far, 25 states have passed this e-waste legislation, meaning that 65% of the U.S. population is covered by a state e-waste recycling law. By supporting the banning of e-waste exports and creating stronger laws on these toxic chemicals in our electronics, we are able to buy greener and safer products. Furthermore, the Electronic Take Back Coalition's website provides useful tips to help you recycle your electronics the right way. If you're not familiar with them, the Electronic Take Back Coalition promotes green design and responsible recycling in the electronics industry, as well as protecting the health of electronic users, workers, and areas where electronics are produced and discarded. Some actions they provided on their website is by making sure you are not throwing away your old electronics or batteries in the trash, because those toxic chemicals in your phones or wires do not belong in the landfill. Instead, try donating your electronics for them to be reused if it is possible, or sell them if they're still functioning properly. There is no need to toss out a laptop or phone that is still in good condition. Also, try finding a responsible recycler in your state and make sure to use a recycler who is a part of the e-Steward network to ensure they won't export it. You can easily find one near you by going on estewards.org. In conclusion, this is a problem in our environment. Our electronics should be disposed of properly in order to avoid these toxic chemicals being released in the air we breathe and the land we live in, and we should not have to put other people's health at risk in order to do so. Let us all take initiative and prioritize the health of others who are involved in the production and destruction of our electronics, because no one should have to suffer for our electronic enjoyment.